Welcome back, cool cats, to the Madden Guardians podcast. I'm joined by Bucks, the GOAT, Seti, the German one, Evo, the JT stat patter. What's up, guys?
How are we doing,
What's
Dante?
up, Dante?
I'm actually not the JT stat patter. I am the JT disciple. I'm showing everyone the way that JT is our Lord and Savior.
No.
Off the cap.
17th starter in yards per carry.
And in this episode of the podcast, we'll be talking about the biggest disappointments and surprises because we've been through 8 weeks of the season. There's been a lot of very big names surprisingly doing good. There's been a lot of very bad people that have done surprisingly bad. So we're going to start off with Evo. Give us our first disappointment.
Yeah, so this first one, we're at that halfway mark, so we pretty much know how this team is, right? And this first one, I think, has to be the number one disappointment in the league. And it's also one of the best people in the league. It's going to be Kohler and the Giants. I mean, you're going to tell me that this guy has been one of the best Madden players I've ever played. So I think he's going to be one of the best in Madden 21. And that's just not the case. I mean, he's 2-6 right now. He has 230 points for, 228 points against. He was a defensive guy before, and now his defense is trash. He just can't win close games. And to put the icing on the cake, when he traded 2 firsts, his first this year next year, for free safety Buda Baker, I mean, that's an all-in move. I want to win now. I want to be competitive. So the fact that he's 2-6, riding the bottom of the division with the DC Defenders, who are obviously a way more superior team, but still, like, the fact that he's just down there is just a big old dookie, and just a smelly dookie. I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Evo. I think Kohler, like, when we did our before season predictions, like, everybody was talking great about him, and now he's last in the division. We all had Muffin there, but he's doing even worse than Muffin. And I don't know. He's really disappointed me in a lot of ways.
All right. I can go. Yeah. So I guess one of my biggest disappointments so far for this season, it's got to be the Las Vegas Raiders and Gage. Now, I put Gage as my sleeper pick, okay? And unfortunately, he's not been living up to the sleeper pick. I'm not sure what he did this week, but I believe he's 1-5 now.
2-5.
2-5. Okay, so he won this week. So he's 2-5 now. And that AFC West that has some struggling records. I think the leading record is what, 3-4, 4-3, something like that, 4-4. So that division is just there for the taking. No one in the AFC West seems to want it. Gage, one of the best passers I've ever played against. Just today, he dotted me out for like 350 yards. Almost choked a 21-point lead in 3 minutes. That's how good of a passer Gage is, but he just hasn't been able to pull together his wins, which has been a little disappointing for me.
Totally agree. I even think that the AFC West as a whole could fall into that same category of disappointing. I thought they were going to be studs.
Well, we'll see who our fellow two.
For me, Gage, like, his offense is as good as expected. I think he's still leading the league in points for, but he's also leading the league in points, or like is last in the league in points against. Because I think we all expected him to have a great offense and a bad defense, but exactly. I don't think anyone expected his defense to be as bad as it is. Especially,
just more exaggerated than we even thought.
Yeah, his defense isn't like, he hasn't the greatest defense player-wise, but it's also definitely not the worst. So his players definitely could do more. Defense.
I think a big reason why Gage fell off is his overall team sucks. The offense is nice, right? The offense is nice. You got speed, but the defense is atrocious. And then you pair that with he relied on his user in Madden 20 to get stops. So now that the user is nerfed, he's been hit probably the hardest by anyone, I think. And his defense literally is just a wide open artery. It's just cut. It's spurting everywhere, and it just cannot stop. It's just giving points away.
Yeah,
I have to agree.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I'm gonna go into mine right now.
Oh, okay.
This one's gonna be a surprise. Nobody thought this was gonna happen. Best team of football won the Super Bowl last year. I'm saying Drew and the Chiefs.
Ooh.
Now going into the season before season predictions, we were all basically just giving Drew the Super Bowl. Like he was projected 16-0. Like, nobody was going to stand a chance against him. And he's only 4-4, and PD is still in this division to win it. And the game we just watched, Richie with the Jets, starting Trace McSorley or whatever his name is, if I'm not mistaken, almost won the game. Like, what are you doing, Drew? You have Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey. I don't know.
wholeheartedly
That's my
agree.
disappointment.
Yeah,
Especially in a game. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
yeah. As sad as I am about it, yeah, you have to name him because we have to say that he missed Mahomes for 3 weeks
Yeah,
and
true.
won against Gage in one of those games and
How?
completely like.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
we just talked about Gage's
Yeah,
defense,
Gabe,
but
no defense. Yeah.
still, yeah, Drew dropped too many games already. And it's not that he's like terrible, but he's just far behind the expectations we had for him going into the season.
Yeah, and I mean, like he doesn't have Mahomes, but still, that team is ridiculous, especially in a game where defense for a lot of people, I know not everyone, is pretty much non-existent. Like I'm looking at these points against, and almost all of them are in the 30s, and Gage's is at 47. So like, there's some high points against. You gotta score with that offense. You just have
Yeah,
to
and another
score.
point I just realized, the most feared video we did also before the season, Drew was
he was up there.
Drew was number 3. I don't think anybody's scared
Behind
of him
two other
after
disappointments.
these weeks now.
Well, yeah, I mean, Drew's offense is putting up points. His problem, I think, similar to Gage, is just his defense. He just can't get the stops. I mean, yeah, he has a couple playmakers. Maybe he needs to improve his defensive roster over the offseason. But yeah, I feel like that's just the thing that's holding him back. Like all his games are high scoring, but on too many of them, he just ended up having less points than his opponent.
Oh yeah, is that 4? Is that 4 in a row? We got one more.
Nope.
I agree, but we have Cedric, the German man.
All right.
End it off.
Yeah, I'm sad to say it, but my disappointment so far is our dear Dante. The season is far away from lost, but correct me if I'm wrong. Your record is 3-5 right now.
Yeah.
I see that your division is tough, but I expected you to be at least 5-3 or better at this point. I didn't expect you to have 5 losses so far, to struggle that much. I mean, we all knew Trubisky would be rough, and we didn't expect the defense to be as bad as it actually is, especially, Mac not having a single sack. I still expected more, and I know you expected more. You expected more too, especially from your offense. Like you said, something like you can't stop throwing picks for some reason, and that's just something we don't know of you. So yeah, at this point in the season, it's just not what we expected you to do.
Dante, what do you have to say about that?
I sadly agree.
Now, I will say this about Dante. He has had one terrible, in terms of challenging. He has a really, really challenging schedule. Because I know he has to play the NFC South, and I'm pretty sure. What's the other division you have to play?
AFC South.
AFC South. So there's no easy
tough.
games in those divisions. So while it's probably unfortunate, like he wins, like he has an easier schedule. He's probably 6-2, 5-3.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give you a ride through my schedule. So week 1 blew the game against the Corey because of picks. Week 3 blew the game against AV because of picks. Week 4 blew the game against Astro because I just looked terrible. Bucks, I lost off a pick 6.
Yeah, you did. Antoine Winfield, thank you for that.
I mean, but
Poppy, I just didn't play well at all. So it's just, it comes down to me blowing games in the beginning. I should have a better record, but
that's exactly the thing I'm talking about. That's the disappointing thing, that you just blow the games that, we didn't expect you to lose because of reasons, especially that we didn't expect. Because we all knew that your defense isn't the greatest in the league, but it was your offense who just last year, no one could stop you. And this year where usually no one can stop anyone, you haven't been as stellar as you used to be.
Yep.
So, enough negativity. I think if you guys are cool with it, I want to lead us off with the biggest surprises of the year so far.
Let's do it.
So,
give me, amigo. Give me.
My biggest surprise is one of the most loved guys on Discord. Very chill guy. He's one of the dads, because the dad team is strong, right? We don't get a lot of time to laugh.
Dad team.
I know the answer to this one.
This team is number 1 in the league in rushing. They have a top 20 passing attack, and they also have a pretty stout defense as well. They represented themselves in the Super Bowl for the NFC last year. It's Scuba and the 49ers.
Scuba.
4-3. 4-3, so not amazing, but I mean, man, dude, this guy has won some games that we really thought he didn't have any business being in. So I just think that Scuba has really taken a leap. He's been safe with the ball. He's been the opposite of Dante. He's not making picks. He's not doing anything like that, and that's what made him lose games in 20. So the fact that he's kind of overcame that like inability to win close games, I think he's a real threat now. I mean, he's a game behind in his division. I think he's really going to make playoffs for the first time in forever. And yeah, I'm just super excited to watch this team.
I actually agree, bro. I'm looking at this. Go ahead. And the 49ers have the number 1 rushing yards with 198 yards a game. I mean, are they playing the Bucks every game? Like, what is going on? He's almost averaging 200 yards.
Yeah,
200 yards a game.
Dominance.
That's
ridiculous. Dominance.
It's really good. He knows, I mean, he's a Niners fan, but he knows the strength of his team, and he just plays to it. You know, he doesn't try to get fancy. He's just, that like shows you, like, you know, the old school player, the old school like football coach he is. He just uses his strength, to just like, that so he doesn't lose by, like, you know, trying to use his weaknesses too much. And so far, he got 4 wins. Yeah, I mean, last year, what was his record? Like 2-14 every time. Cause he was in a lot of the games, but he somehow managed to lose most of them. And this year, it's just not the case. And even the 3 losses, I mean, the one against Spike wasn't great, but I think he barely lost to Richie, and I don't know where the other loss came from. But he's really looking good so far.
I mean, but I'll say this about Madden 21: there are some big problems with the defense, but I think it does favor the smart offensive player, like the checkdowns, the running the ball, and I think that really fits Scuba. So I definitely agree with you.
Captain Checkdown. Yeah, his losses are to Richie and the Jets by 1 point. And then he took a 10-point loss to the Eagles, who are leading the division, and then just right now the Pats.
To interrupt you here, if I remember right, he drove down the field against Richie, scored the touchdown, and just went for 2 to not go into overtime in the end. That's how he lost.
What a big boy play.
So,
Scuba's been a big surprise. I really like how he's playing. And now we're going to go to Buckaroo for the second surprise.
Me. Okay, so I'm going to have to give some love to my fellow NFC South rival here. And I got to go the Carolina Panthers in All-Star. He has one of the top. He's kind of like a little bit of like Gage. He has the second most points on defense and top 5 in passing and total yards. But all of his defensive stats besides rushing yards are all of his rushing defensive stats are in the bottom tier. So he's got that really high-powered offense. He's 4-3 in a brutal NFC South schedule. We play the NFC North and the AFC West. So I don't know. I liked what I saw at Astro when I played him. I know he's got some beef with the Falcons user, but I think All-Star is good. I think he's 4th in the NFC South with a 4-3 record, which is not ideal. Get him out of there. Someone save All-Star. But I think All-Star's been really good. I think he's really controlled the ball. He doesn't throw picks as much as he used to when I played him the first game. I think it was Broncos-Patriots, and he threw a couple game-sealing picks, and he doesn't really do that anymore. So I think he's really matured as a player, and I think he's really good now. Definitely a threat for the wild card.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick, and it's not my pick, but maybe to throw the Falcons in there too. I mean, we had a coaching change, but Queefer just took over what AV started. They're 5-2, and we kind of had them in like playoff contention, but definitely for the 3rd spot in the division. And 5-2 is pretty good in that division right now, honestly.
Yeah, and I know I haven't played the Falcons at all, and I don't know how many times Saints Poppy has, but I bet those division games are going to be nuts for sure.
All right. We're going to hop in right to mine. And mine is going to be a big surprise because nobody saw him winning this or competing in this division. I'm going to have to go with Spike and the Patriots.
I like it.
Now, Spike, he's 4-2 right now. One of his losses came off of a forced loss or a fair sim loss to Habs, which he was winning that game, I believe. And like he's been like dominant. Like he's been 28ing people. He 28ed Drew. Who did he play last game? I think he played
Scuba.
He destroyed Scuba. Like he's playing so great. He has a great well-rounded team. He's using it right, and he's really surprised me.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually definitely agree.
Spike's definitely up there too. I mean, one thing, he did a good job building his team because going into the season, his roster wasn't great. And I just talked to Stinky about it the other day. Like right now, he made his roster basically the best, at least in our division, and he knows how to use it. I mean, I don't know how, but he knows how to get all those ridiculous catches and all on like a regular basis. And I don't know how he does it, but he, as you said, he just wins his game, and not by like a slim margin. He does a really good job so far, and I'm gonna play him maybe later tonight, probably tomorrow, and it's definitely gonna be an interesting game.
All right, Seti,
Yeah,
close us
Spike's pretty
off.
good. I agree. Good Spike.
All right, we're
yeah,
gonna end this one off with Mr. Suddy.
yeah, I'm gonna stay in my division, and I would have mentioned Spike too if you hadn't done it, and
Richie.
I'm gonna go to Stinky because Stinky kind of plays like a dick, but he plays successfully. He's 6-1. He has the best record in the league. He had some games in there that he shouldn't have won, but at the end of the day, that's what makes the good guys good. Like getting wins in games they shouldn't win. So at the end of the day, he's 6-1. His loss was in a sim, in a fair sim. So
he's 6-0 user games. Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
we knew he was going to do good. The Dolphins also have a good roster, like not the highest overalls, but some really fast, good players, especially developing wise. You have really good pieces, but he's really using him as good as you probably possibly can. And as you said, 6-0 in user games, so he's definitely not surprised in terms of we thought he would do bad, but I don't think we saw him doing as good as he does.
I think you summed it up perfectly. I didn't expect Stinky to do bad. I think in our video, I think I had with 80 on like the biggest sleepers preseason, I think I had Stinker on there, but I didn't expect him to go 6-0 in these games. I'm going to be completely honest. So that's been a definite surprise. I think he works really hard at the game. He definitely learns the meta.
Yeah,
that's why some people don't like his play style. And I understand their complaints for sure, but he learns the game, and you got to give him credit for that. He learns the game, and he learns what he needs to do to score points. So I agree, Sadie. That's a great choice.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up for our surprises and disappointments. So I'm gonna need you to like, subscribe to the video, comment, or I'll boot you from the league. I'll boot you.
Dante's green now.
But if you want more comments, if you want more videos, please spam the likes, and we're out. Goodbye, guys.
Have a good night.
Peace.